Morning, Robert Rostick,
Good morning, Brian Volaton.
and good morning to everyone in Facebook land watching this week's episode of Raising Unmanageables.
What episode is this?
This is episode 33, Robert Rostick.
We've been doing this 33 times.
33 times. 33 weeks.
You know the thing about it, and it doesn't get old
It doesn't get old.
at all.
And we're still having fun, I think, right?
I think so.
Yeah, even though I'm throwing shade at you.
You throwing shade. Yeah, all I wanted to do was make this one sound effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do.
I'm glad you did it.
And that was it.
And it kind of got a little bit on my shoe, too. It's fine. It's fine.
But that's okay. It's okay.
Like we said before, my name is Bevo from Beach in Maine.
And I'm Robert Rostick from TRG Studio.
And to everyone listening and watching right now, please like, share, and feel free to join in on the conversation. And let's get into it, Robert Rostick.
And if you don't get this broadcast now, watch the rebroadcast anytime on Facebook and SoundCloud. And where else are we?
Where did you learn this term rebroadcast? What is this?
Because that's what happens. We rebroadcast
What
things.
is this business?
Oh, so that's what we do.
I mean, it's like we're someone's resource for creative growth and business development over here.
And sometimes you're not able to watch it right now at 11:30 every Tuesday. So you might want to watch it catch it at some other time. So check your Facebook, check your SoundCloud, check your iTunes.
Yeah.
And you'll find us.
Man, that just blew my mind just now. So, disparity, Robert. What do we do when we're desperate
Desperate.
in our career?
Now, that's a great question. I open up this little piece right here because this little bubbly is something that keeps my voice in check.
Right.
And if I don't have some sort of carbonation, then my voice, everything just loses on my voice, and I get a lot of burning in my throat, and I can't breathe, and all that kind of stuff, and I have this sense of desperation. I drink water, I drink vinegar, but when I get the bubbly, it soothes things in my throat, so I'm not as desperate to breathe as I was. So this helps me, and I know that's an odd way of saying something about being desperate, because sometimes you're going to find in your career that things are not going to go your way.
Right.
And when they don't go to your way, what do you do? What are you gonna resort to? We just had a major shutdown of our government for the past 30-something days. It's now
35, 36 days.
35, 36 days. And it's back open now. But people in their careers resorted to some things that they thought that they would never have to do.
Never have to do. And it happened quickly, too.
Absolutely.
Happened really quickly. In a matter of weeks, it was, holy shit, what are we going to do now?
And that happens across the board in all of our careers. What happens when we don't get the job that we bid for? We planned, stayed up nights, putting together proposals, and it didn't happen, and we banked on it.
And I think what ends up happening is it kind of clouds our judgment a lot of the times, and I think it gets in the way of how we would normally address a situation. So if it's a bad situation, what if we have a job, or we're all creatives, and at some point in our creative lives, we end up at this road where, should I do this on my own? Should I step away from my job? And sometimes the disparity of not knowing where the money's going to come from today, tomorrow, the next day, keeps us in this circle of, well, I have to keep doing what I'm doing and putting off what I really, really want to do, because I got kids to feed, I got rent to pay, I have a mortgage to pay, can't let the car go back to the bank. So what are ways we can overcome the disparity or that scarcity mindset once we get to that point, and keep creating and keep on a path that's going to put us in that part of our careers where we want to be on our terms without sacrifice or feeling like we're sacrificing bits of ourselves for it.
Well, here's the thing about it. You're going to have to sacrifice
Yeah.
one way or the other. And one of the things I think that people are not willing to do is they're not willing to modify their lifestyle
Right.
for their bigger goal. And it's always great to say that, yeah, you can own your own business, and as we do, we own our own business. But what do we have to give up? What do we have to give up family wise? What do we have to give up as far as the Mercedes, in my case, the BMW, in order to
BMW bicycle.
absolutely, absolutely. What do you think I was thinking? I was talking about talking about a bike, man. In order to pursue something that's going to be not only satisfying and gratifying for me, but it is me,
Yeah.
and that's the thing about it. So I needed to not only recapture my soul, but claim my soul.
So give me an example. What is something that you've done to position yourself to keep doing what you're doing now?
Okay,
What's the sacrifice?
For instance, I worked as a security guard one time, so that I can at least buy a second car, a used car that would and then was able to trade in the other car, the bigger car, the bigger deal, in order to pare down on my expenses.
Yeah.
So that I can buy more equipment
Okay.
instead of putting more money into a vehicle that was only for style and show.
Yeah.
That was one thing. As far as the mortgage, now you can't skimp on the mortgage. Now you got to do the mortgage. But making that second job in order to secure equipment, in order to find time to work on the creative side of what it is that I was hoping to do. Those are the things that I sacrificed early on. And I had a talk with the family as well, saying these are the things that we need to do. You're not going to have that that pretty dress, or you're not going to be able to go to all these different things. But in the long run, we're going to have everything, everything we want, and that everything is if nothing else, peace of mind,
Right. Okay.
low blood pressure,
Right. Absolutely.
better health, because I'm not sweating at a place where I don't want to be, doing things I don't want to do. So the big car, the fancy clothes, it wasn't all worth it to me. But having the business and pursuing that was worth it.
That's what everything was pinned around. That's
Everything
what
was
you wanted
spinning
to do.
around that
Cool.
one thing. So I was willing to be a security guard. I was willing to, if they had Uber at the time, I would have done Uber. I would have done anything in order to pursue something that was more in who I am than to continue to just chase after things that don't really mean that much to me.
Sure. And I think it's super interesting because I had a similar experience where it wasn't me taking on. Well, I took a job last year, but it's at the school at SPC, and that was for reasons to better myself as a speaker, things. So, but I was in a situation where a year ago it got hard. Like things got, my overhead was more than what I had coming in, right? So I had to make the decision. And I have daughters, and we were often, me and their mom was a week on, a week off, and it was just getting too expensive. And I hadn't figured out how to keep cash flow coming in at that point. So the best solution was presented. I moved in with Mason, and it's a way smaller place. We're like two giants in that place. You stand next to it.
Both 6 feet now.
Yeah, we're just it's huge. Take up all the space. Just us in the kitchen is like, what are you doing? But that sacrifice, the girls mainly stay with their mom. However, I'm there every day. I go see them every day. I pick them up from school, take them to school every day, and do all the stuff that I was normally doing, but remotely, just back and forth and having to shuffle more. So I spend more time on the road. I think that's part of one of the sacrifices, and not being able to have them in the house at nighttime every day. That was a sacrifice as well. But it brought my overhead way down to a sustainable level to where I can go and start building, get my client base settled, and have the breathing room even in those months where you're not making as much, to not feel like I'm underwater. So that was a sacrifice on my behalf, or on my part, was just figuring out how to get my emotional self out of the way so that I can build back up.
Well,
And now we're moving back towards this whole situation of getting into another house and all that stuff too.
The thing about your family, though, your family is, no matter what, whether you're, and I've seen and heard and read about families, as long as they're together, it doesn't matter where they are, whether they're in a castle or in a car. And I understand that for the betterment of the child, that you want the best for them.
Right.
But the best for them is to be there for them.
Yeah.
And so, barring family, the other thing is that you have to make sure that your head is wrapped around enough in order to pursue your real interest.
Right.
And if you're not pursuing your real interest, what good are you to your family?
Right. And I took that into consideration too, because we've talked about that a long time, and I feel a whole lot better now knowing that climb back upwards, which I'm still in that climb in a lot of respects. That climb back upwards feels a little more controlled because I'm not spiraling right now. It's more like, okay, what do we need to do? Cool. Do we have enough money to do this? Okay, cool. What's the next step to get the circumstance that I want back? Be back in the same house every other week with my kids, and that's the ultimate goal for me. Is like just to be able to see them. And I got a high schooler and I got a middle schooler, and I don't have that many more years left, so I still like to be able to come home and have those conversations with them. So that's a big goal, getting to a place where we're all together. So, but living out of disparity put me in a situation, I think, where I had to downsize because I wasn't thinking about the income. I was only thinking about, well, I don't have this now, so let me squirrel everything away and squirrel my time away. I spent less time out of the house trying to get clients and more time just like, well, I'm not gonna drive my car because it's gonna be gas money, or I'm not going to do other things because it's going to waste resources. However, by not doing those things, there was no resources coming back in, no currency coming back in.
You still have to plant the seeds,
right?
Even if it's in the or desperate times,
right?
Times of despair is the word I was hoping to say there. You still have to plant the seeds. You still have to go out and you still have to find ways of preparing for the future,
right?
So I've been desperate, but at the same time, and we've talked about this a number of times on this broadcast, is that you need to be able to reach out to someone and let them know what it is that you want to do, what it is that you're hoping to do, and what it is that, most importantly, you're working towards.
Right.
If you're wanting and hoping, that's nothing unless you're working towards something. And the creative, we are the worst people when it comes to emotional ups and downs.
Yeah.
We are the worst. I'm surprised that we don't go postal more than the regular people.
Well, I think we're more prone to it though.
But here's the thing that's different though. I believe, and this is only my belief, is that we do have an outlet. We have our creative.
Yeah.
And that's where we pour all of our intentions, our anger, our hopes, our dreams into that creative, where I think a lot of other people who are out there may not have that.
Yeah.
So we're saying to you creatives that as long as you keep working toward your craft, and also reaching out to people to let them know where you are. And I think we talked to Keith Taylor about that, letting people know where you are in a past episode. You'll find that people will be receptive to you.
Right.
Because eventually all of us are going to go through it.
Cool.
All of us.
I think we got a question or a situation happening on the microphone over here with Mason Guerin.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
I'm just curious for both of you, what are some things that you do that get you out of the mindset of thinking in disparity?
The scarcity mindset?
Yeah, because that's totally normal human reaction, but it takes effort to wake up out of that and keep moving forward. So what's something that you do to help you get out, and what do you do to maintain the, and it's only natural that it's up and down and happens to all of us.
Okay.
For me, I pick up the camera and I make images. I have to.
Right. So what you're saying is you do more of what you need to do to keep the ball rolling towards what your goals
yes.
are, right? So whether you believe in God or whether you believe that the universe is going to provide it for you, I think a lot of the times is when you get what you ask for, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
if more work is what you're asking for or more money is what you're asking for, you still have to continue doing the things to get those things, more money or more work. When you fall into the scarcity mindset or desperate measures, and you start retracting, then you stop doing the things that keep that circulation of creative output and creative mindset to keep yourself in front of people, in front of mind, to nourish your income and nourish your creative mindset. So I guess what I'm saying is you have to keep doing. Even when you're running out of money, you still have to paint. You still have to shoot. You still have to write. You still have to do it until you just can't no more. And even when you can't, you still have to just keep doing it because that's the only thing that charges and keeps that energy going.
So, but is there anything specific that you do? Like, do you have a conversation with yourself? Robert is saying he goes and takes photographs. That kind of gets him out of the, oh my God, I'm freaking out, and going and doing what you love, doing something that's therapy.
I think for me, when I've been in those situations, helping other people gets me out of my own head, and it makes me realize that that's what I'm there to do in the first place, right? So I've been in situations where I'm thinking like I'm in a trash can, right? Everything's heading downward, and then I'll run into someone who's almost quite literally worse off than me. And I'm like, well, let me help this person because one, it's going to get me out of my mindset, and two, it's going to give me perspective on what I'm doing in the first place. And that's part of what we do anyway. And in both of our businesses is there's an outcome. You help people learn their camera and to produce photographs. And with me, I help people tell their stories and learn how to market themselves. But I think the bigger work that we both do that kind of gets unstated is we're just servicing people. And we're helping them get through their issues and their problems, which gives us perspective on ours as well.
Absolutely. And every now and then, the things that bring us down is somewhat self-induced.
Right.
Because we say, okay, I'm putting in all this time, I'm putting in all this work, and I should be here. And that, I mean, in my opinion, is the total wrong way to look at something. Right. But we just said, okay, I did this much, why am I not doing that? And or why am I not in this particular place or this particular space? And it's only because if we continue to do a comparison of where someone else is or where we think they are, then we are going to not have our eyes on the prize in a sense.
Right.
And the prize is this, is for us to be doing and being compensated for our creative minds.
Right.
And creative actions as well. So if we're doing that, we're on the right path. As long as you're doing it for as little as or as much as, because we don't know what that other person's situation is at that particular time.
Right. And I think a lot of the times to understand more what you're saying is we get to control what our goal is.
Absolutely.
But we don't always get to control the path of how it's going, how we get there.
How quickly we get there.
How quickly we get there.
But the fact that we are in charge of our goal, and our goal is not necessarily one of being stuck in an environment, whatever environment, even if that environment is creative. Because I think sometimes people think that they want to be in the creative field and find that that's not really where they should be. But neither here nor there, that no matter where we are, we need to get to a place where we want to be, and that's most important.
So with that being said, Robert Rostick, as we come to a close of this week's episode, episode 33 of Raising Unmanageables.
I can't believe this is number 33.
It's about that time for you to hit me with that line. Hit me with that line, Robert Rostick.
I'm going to say, we look forward to seeing you guys each and every Tuesday at around this time. And we would like for you at all times to take a moment out of your day to be unmanageable.
And with that, this is this week's episode. Thank y'all very much. Peace.